All right, welcome into the show. Show for you guys today. So we have week day 2 of Rivalry Week, as I'm enjoying my festive zero sugar Sprite with winter spice cranberry in it. Yeah, there's that. All right, if you'd like to join the show, I'll put the link out over there. Already getting some stuff here from people. The first is let's see here. There's something out from the Right Network, which I've never heard of. It came out yesterday saying that Dabo Sweeney is going to replace Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. They're saying this is a prediction, not a report. Pretty funny. I don't see that happening, period. Why would Dabo Sweeney want to go to Alabama when he's got everything built at Clemson? I think people are just putting out that narrative because Alabama has – there's the old adage that they had, the whole Corvette thing. Yeah. And DeBoer's turned it into a pile of crap. I can definitely see that. So there's that. But anyway, don't believe the reports that are out there on that front or predictions. I just don't see that happening. Shout out to Pigskin Pete for joining the show. Anyway, yeah, so that's the one thing we wanted to start off with today. I wouldn't buy into any rumors that Dabo Sweeney is going to leave Clemson and go to Alabama. We can't talk about Mack Brown getting fired today, who we thought he was getting fired like midweek or mid-season, and then he basically said was talked back into staying the whole season. And then he gets back and says, you know what? He's like Matt, what was it? Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not leaving. And then Bubba Cunningham told him today, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Michael says Dabo's leaving and is going to the Cowboys. No, why would you do that? Beamer killed Brown's will to coach in Charlotte. Really? Okay. Mack Brown's a championship coach, something that Shane Beamer will never be. So there's that. Hi, Justin. Rivalry Week is upon us. Make sure you guys come to the live show. That is, of course, coming up on Friday at Calloway's Bar and Grill out in West Columbia, Highway 1, diagonal from the Walmart. Information about that is in the description. As we raise money to try to get me a tattoo, a Gamecock tattoo. Yeah, that's in the mix. $5,000 raised for the Children's Recovery Center. I will get a Gamecock tattoo. That's what we're working on. All right. Anyway, if you want to join the program, there's the link. You want to talk about Mack Brown getting fired? Clemson basketball plays today at 4 o'clock. They beat the hell out of the San Francisco Dons last night as the chef went to work. You can go and check out the stuff on that. South Carolina lost to Xavier. Gamecock fans are moonwalking this shit back. Oh, well, we have 2 losses, but they're to nationally ranked. No, you don't. No, you don't. I don't think Gamecock basketball is going to be very good this year. I could be wrong. Clemson looks like they are, or could be close to being the real deal. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, if you'd like to join the show, there's the link. All right. I don't think Dabo Sweeney is going to go coach the Dallas Cowboys. That's just not happening. You know who's a Cowboy apologist is Dennis Wilson, friend of the program, which is living proof that we all have faults. I mean, how Dennis Wilson, the man of the people, could be a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Which, by the way, they've got that star on the side of their helmet. It's a rating. It's a rating. They're a 1-star team. That's what they are. What a shithole they are. So, there you go with that. Anyway, if you'd like to join the show, have at it. Debo to Bama. I don't know what you're talking about there, Dylan. But there are some I was talking about this earlier. I was looking at this earlier. There are some like your Thanksgiving slate of football. I thought we'd go over that for a minute today. You have your pro games, but the game's going up to it. So if we look at, this is kind of the week where they bring out the whole, it's a lot about basketball and stuff like that. But you do have some midweek games here that are interesting. I say interesting, but some of them are crap. But you know how that is. Anyway, as we look at it tonight, you got Maction, Toledo, and Akron. There you go. Kent State and Buffalo. Let's welcome Peg and Megan to the show. Pegan, what's up, buddy?
Rob, how's it going?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm great. You mind if I throw some hypotheticals at you, sir?
Sure.
Let's say we raise that $5,000.
Yeah.
Where is this tattoo going? Since I've already digested my lunch, I'll go ahead and ask.
What's going on my right arm right here, buddy? Right there on the ground.
Is that written in stone?
Well, wait.
I'm
not getting a Mike Tyson tattoo. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not.
No, I don't want that. I could see it. I could see you hiding it well, like putting it somewhere near your ovaries, or maybe just where it shows when you wear your thong down in Daytona, stuff like that. Where it's
going on my right arm where everybody can see it.
Okay, 10-4.
I mean, it's right there. Now the wife's in there, and she's talking about I should get a tramp stamp.
I thought that area was already taken. I just assumed that you've already got a tattoo.
There's no tramp stamp going on there, buddy. That's not happening.
No SEC tattoo back there?
What's that?
No SEC tattoo back there?
You know what? If we raised the $5,000, I would consider that. That wouldn't bother me. Yeah, the tramp stamp would not bother me.
So I was working and I briefly glimpsed at the new playoff rankings. Is Clemson at 12? Is that right?
We'll know tonight. They're 12th in the AP poll, 12th in the coaches poll, which they should be right there in the mix. I don't know where they're going to be, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was driving when I did it. I must have looked at the projected rankings.
Yeah, now there are some projections. I read like 4 different projections today. This one projection was like they were talking about Clemson being like 19th and Alabama was 10th.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what in the hell is that all about? But we'll see.
Would not surprise me a bit. Would not surprise me. That Bama brand, I'm telling you, man, they're going to get in. They will be the first 3-loss team in, I guarantee you.
Probably. You're probably right. And but I don't necessarily agree with them. I mean, do you think they need to be in over a lot of other teams if you take off your Georgia hat there for a minute?
No, I think they've got 2 terrible losses. I mean, who the hell loses to Tennessee?
So Vanderbilt's their only quality loss? Is that where you're going?
Yeah, exactly. I'll spot them the Vanderbilt loss, but who in the hell loses to Tennessee?
Well, see, it's the thing is that when you have, if you go through a season and you have 1 loss, it's like, all right, you stubbed your toe. Quarterback could have the flu. I mean, there could be so many different things. Okay,
yeah.
When you've lost a quarter of your games at the end of the year, it's hard for me to make an argument for you to be in the playoff to win the national title.
Yeah.
I mean, is that math worth mathing? I believe so. I don't understand this whole thing of, yeah, but they're good though. If they were good, they wouldn't have went on the road and scored just 3 points against Oklahoma. If you were a good team, you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I've heard your thoughts on Clemson being in the playoff. Yeah, and I know this is not popular, but I feel the same way about Georgia. This is not a championship team. Somewhere along the line, they're going to get embarrassed.
I think that you're farther on the other end of if we had a teeter-totter, Clemson would be on one side and Georgia would obviously be on the other. I think that you have your defensive line is good. Carson Beck has the ability where if he doesn't throw interceptions, he's a pretty good quarterback. Y'all just don't run the ball. That's the problem with Georgia. They don't run the ball like they have been before,
It's not that we don't. We can't. I mean, we want to. We cannot run the ball. And
They don't have that
are
nastiness that you normally have. You know what I'm saying?
no
Like if you lined up and it's second and 6, you can hand the ball off to your running back and he may get 8 yards and then, we're going to go do it again. We're just going to keep running the ball down your throat. They just
right.
don't
And
have that this year.
I like the word you just used was nastiness. We don't have it, and it would be okay if we're scoring 45 points a game. Maybe that would make up for it, but that's not the case, and that's my point. We've got some players on defense, and some of this has to do with targeting because of how gun shy they are. But we've got some players who are turning down contact, particularly in that secondary. Not Dan Jackson because he brings the wood every time, but I just wonder if this is the new age of college football where Kirby can't jump all over him like he wants to because they'll pout and they'll transfer, and he's learned that. You know,
You know what's amusing over here is Makima is trying to troll us in the chat saying 2 fans of poverty programs in the same call. He's a Miami fan. He needs to shut his mouth. Krista, your coach can't beat Georgia Tech. You can't beat the nerds in anything. Go away with that nonsense. No one buys Miami as a viable program. Hell out of here with that bullshit.
if you would not have told me he was a Miami fan and given me, well, I would have been 1 and 3. It would have been Florida, Tennessee, or Miami. That would have been my three choices.
It's funny that there's Miami people that show up on the show now. We've got 3 or 4 of the others there that want to run their mouth as Miami fans and haven't done shit. No. Your last national title was literally on VHS. You're worse than Tennessee. You're lucky that the ACC lets you in the conference. Go away.
The year they won their last national titles, probably the same year he went to his last home game at Miami too. If you want to play the odds there. Yeah. Got 9 freaking people.
It's just silly. All I have to tell you is watch out for the fruit this weekend. If you lose to the fruit, I know you'll go Casper and we'll never see you again. But just watch out for the fruit because they might beat you.
I may laugh. If that happens, Rob, I may laugh myself into a coma. There will be one rooting harder.
Nobody gave them a chance against Georgia Tech this year. Miami's the announcers were all talking them up like Miami scores 47 points a game. I'm like, and y'all hadn't been good since y'all had drug dealers that were shooting back at other drug dealers in practice. Y'all are not a viable program, and your coach is a clown. Take that and roll with it. Even if you go to the ACC championship game, SMU probably rolls you. There you go.
Yeah.
I've done enough of rolling Miami fans today. So,
Rob, I've been all over South Carolina to win this game, but man, the more I think about it, home field advantage has been bigger than ever this year. If you've really been paying attention, home field has been huge, and that makes I don't know that I would touch this one if I were a gambling man.
I don't. It's too close in my opinion. There are 2 stats that I'm going to give folks today that I will. I'm gonna harp on throughout the week. Lenora Sellers leads the country in fumbles. I don't give a shit who you are. If you lead the country in fumbles, that's not good. Now, on the other side, Clemson has 6 blocked kicks this season. I'm talking field goals, whatever. 6 blocked kicks. That's is not good. Yeah,
that's a problem.
Both of those are a problem. Saturday may be a shit fest where people are just turning the ball over back and forth. But Clemson with the 6 block kicks, that is definitely a problem. So those 2 things I think are gonna impact the game. South Carolina's got a good pass rush, but like the people that love South Carolina's pass rush should go and look at TJ Parker and the way that he takes over games. He's going to be a first-day NFL draft pick and is really, really good. So the idea that Clemson doesn't have a pass rush, I laugh at because that's just funny. So, but
Yeah, and I'm not up to date on Carolina's tackle situation. Whether they got somebody that can match up well with.
Well, if you go watch the Mizzou game, the way that, and this has happened to South Carolina before. LSU kind of showed the way here. If you run the stretch play to the left or to the right, depending on which side that Stewart's on, run on the other side of it. Mizzou tuned him up for like 180 yards on the ground just on that stretch play. LSU did the same thing with him. So that should tell you a little bit about where South Carolina is as far as stopping the run. Now, if you're going to run right between the tackle, it's not going to work. But if you run the stretch play, you can run on them. So
Yeah, but to be fair, this year, and I was talking to Jackpot earlier this week. Nothing makes sense this year. In other words,
yeah,
you can point to those two games, and I understand why you would. And then
yeah.
the way this year has gone, South Carolina will come out and stone that play just out of the blue, no explanation,
That
shut
may
it
be
down.
true, but I mean, on the 3 games they lost, it was because a lot of that same stretch play. And if
Yeah,
I were calling plays this weekend, Moffitt would have about 25 carries, and 20 of them would be the stretch play. And I
yeah,
would count on my quarterback to have it set up right where we're going to the right side,
yeah,
meaning don't run at Stewart, let him run past you while you run the other way, out of
yeah.
respect for him. That's what I would do, but we'll see.
Hey, I wish you good luck on your live show. I hope you guys raise a ton of money.
I
Why
hope
don't you
so.
get Octavian to commit to a couple grand? The guy's, I mean, he's got money. What is he, a nuclear physicist or something like that? They got to make a ton of money, right?
I don't know. Octavian's got his own thing that he does, man. I don't know.
Uh, he's
Yeah.
obviously a highly intelligent individual, so
Didn't
surely
he
he makes
say
a
he was
ton of money.
buying a Whataburger yesterday? I think that's what he said he was doing. I don't know. Something like that.
Buying a Waterburger. Well,
A
that could be.
Whataburger. Like he said that I'm at this Whataburger that I'm about to buy, and then it was, you know, fuck Georgia, fuck everybody, but
Yeah,
but Florida. So
yeah. Mind you, he said they were going undefeated this year. So,
well, they're undefeated in the past week. Maybe that's what he meant.
yeah, that's true. All right, Rob, I'll give somebody else a chance to jump on here.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
See you. All right.
All right, there you go. There's Peg and Megan. Uh, there's Rob as an SEC bias and Octavian. Octavian still with the brown dot. Hello, Octavian.
What's going on, brother? And thank you, Megan, for your information. South Carolina sucks ass and Georgia sucks ass too. I just want to let you
Is
know.
it true that you're a nuclear physicist, sir?
It could be possible.
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with admitting that you're a nuclear physicist. I think is that a word?
A national security risk.
What, being a nuclear physicist? I don't think
Admitting
that's a
it.
national security risk. Mm.
Hey, Octavian, how you like this still image of Rob riding the fucking lightning?
Yep, I got that's from last year's live show where I got lit up like a Christmas tree. It's gonna happen again
Wow.
this year if we get to the $3,000. 5,000. I'm gonna get the tattoo, which the daughter's already said she doesn't like it. But
Listen, the daughter, she's gonna have to deal with it because the Carolina fans from all around are gonna. We need to, if we're really trying to raise money, we need to post this on the Spur.
well, feel free to share the link and let people know that Jackpot's gonna be there. I'm not on the Spur.
Yeah, we
I don't.
we
I
ought
don't.
to.
I don't read tragedy papers.
Well, we ought to figure out a way to. Not.
Yeah,
It's not.
look,
It's a message board, ain't it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Wherever you want to
Like the
share,
Tiger
have
Paw.
at it.
Y'all got the what? Tiger Paw Talk or whatever the fuck it's called. Hillbilly
Tiger
Circle.
Net.
Yeah,
Tiger
Tiger
Net.
Net. The
Yeah.
Gamecock version of Tiger Net.
Well,
you
share
got
it
listen.
Work.
wherever you
You
want.
guys will have a live report from the FSU Stadium, man.
What?
It's pretty
Where
empty over there.
the hell are you, Octavian? We're worried about you.
That looks like a Bojangles.
Are you at
We,
Bojangles?
no, we eating it here in churches. We right there across the street from the Florida State Stadium.
Oh, so you're at churches, brother. I like churches. You like churches, don't you? Don't you, there, Drewski?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
church is good. Hey, let me grab something real. I'll be right back.
There you go.
look at it. We're right over, you see those losers over there? If you can, I don't know if you can see it, but it's FSU Stadium across the street there. Those losers.
I mean, well, y'all got to play them. So
So I made a purchase.
What a bunch of losers.
what is that?
Student ticket.
Oh, look at you. You're gonna sit. You're gonna sit on the hill. Good for you.
No, everybody knows you can't sit on the hill. That's a fucking calf workout for ages.
You're not gonna
Right.
sit on the hill.
Hell no, I ain't sitting on the hill. Fuck that. I've done my time. Last time I was on the hill, 31-30, Rob. I don't think you want me on the hill.
Nobody gives a shit if you're on the
I
hill.
don't think you want me on the hill. All right.
Mm.
And listen, Octavian, you got an easy dope coming up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Florida State fucking sucks. Believe it or not, somebody I went to high school with got a sack in that Charleston Southern Florida State game. That's how bad they are.
I called Charleston Southern a local middle school team.
Yeah, they're terrible. I've lived here for 20, 25 years. I didn't even know Charleston Southern
All
had a
right,
football team.
Octavian. I guess you're. What's going on, buddy? Or he's at Churches. He's at Churches. Okay. But you figure it out. We can't just have you on going. That's not gonna work.
Churches. But anyway, West Carolina jackpot. Where's Peg and Megan? I wouldn't even want to talk to Peg and Megan.
Why do you want to talk to Peg and Megan? That's not going to work out well for you. You're a nuclear physicist.
Oh, man. Peg and Megan. We got converted into a Florida Gator this weekend.
There's nothing that you could possibly do to turn that man into a Florida Gator. I don't want to speak for him. I don't want to speak for him, but I think that he would allow me to say that. There is nothing that you could possibly do to turn that man into a Florida Gator.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Why would anybody sign up to be a Florida fan right now?
We're flipping a lot of recruits right now. We're going to flip a lot of fans, too. There's going to be a lot of FSU. There will be a lot of FSU fans becoming Gator fans this weekend.
Where's that game at?
Tallahassee, right here in South Carolina. I'll be going to the game here Sunday.
Tallahassee. Well, I'd imagine there's probably not going to be too many Florida State fans coming out to that. That should be a Florida home game.
It pretty much will be. All the Gator fans will be here. All the Gator fans will be here.
A pit bull? That's fucked up.
Anyway.
I seen John Love the other day, and then somebody called you Coctavian, huh?
Yeah, Coctavian. That was the nickname I gave him was Coctavian.
Dude, this guy Makima, you're a fucking Miami fan. You can't. Your stadium's half empty, and you're a top 10 program. We don't even know if you're a real Miami fan. I'm not sure they exist. Okay.
Probably.
So until I see your face in some Miami gear, pipe the fuck down. All right, you're terrible. If you go to the playoffs, dude, Boise State's gonna eat your fucking lunch. You're terrible. You got beat by Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech. Do you know how hard it is to get people to go play football in fucking Atlanta? Why the hell would you want to live there? They whooped your ass. Don't talk to the Gamecock man. Come on.
The Gamecock man and the Gator man and the FSU man and the Clemson man have so many people. We all hate Miami right now.
Yeah, I can't even hear what you said, Octavian. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I just heard the Gamecock man.
I just can't stand Miami. I can't stand them either.
Yeah, we haven't figured out, by the way, and we gotta figure this out before Friday. Like, we haven't figured out the Rob and Kale challenge thing, like the 5 events that we're gonna do. I thought we could do darts. That might be fun, and then after that, we got to figure it out from there. We got to figure out something.
I'll tell you what. You should find an FSU fan and donate $15 to his GoFundMe page. They're gonna need it this weekend.
What does that have to do with us having our live show, sir? You're not staying on topic.
The live show it'll be great.
Why don't you come up for the live show? You don't need to go to that game anyway. It's a bunch of silly down there.
I would love to go to a Clemson football game. Run on the field and tear down the goalposts and run on the field.
You don't tear down the goalposts, man. They've got those fancy goalposts.
Clemson has the retractables.
It goes down. And then, this whole thing of rushing the field is stupid. They don't rush the field. There's a clock that sits there, and it gives the players time to leave the field, and then everybody can go down and.
Well, did y'all see that BYU Arizona State? They had to rush 40,000 people off the field because there was a second left.
And they only thought it was 25,000.
Well,
look,
the thing is,
I think that there needs to be something done about that because somebody's going to end up getting hurt.
Yeah, it's just trendy right now, is what it is.
Like,
When
that top
we're gonna see
where you're at down is a pretty significant drop. Somebody's going to end up breaking their ankle and getting.
There's a video
getting trampled by a bunch of dummies.
There's a video going around right now. I think it was of that BYU game too. somebody comes in and tries to steal like a Arizona State helmet. And I'll tell you, this equipment manager hawked this dude down through the crowd and suplexed him like he was Brock fucking Lesnar. It was one of the most.
That's California. California Golden Bears. Yeah, trying to steal the helmet.
Yeah.
That was a Cal fan.
Well, I'll let Octavian. I know he's got to do his Florida talk, so I'll silence and I'll let you go ahead, Octavian. I'll
All right, go ahead and get us your thing there. I got to read this super chat first from Jay. Makima's been getting mouth pumped as long as the ball. Let's let him vent and get over it with before Miami gets blown out. Very good, sir. So, anyway, go ahead, Octavian. Tell us who sucks.
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna say this right here. Georgia Tech. I've seen this. I know it's a Georgia fan here, but if y'all lose to Georgia Tech, when is this Friday? They play Friday, right?
Sure.
Yeah, they play Friday. And Georgia Tech beats Georgia Friday afternoon or Friday night or whatever they want to call it. I was gonna go on the record and say I'll be going to Atlanta and personally shaking the hand of who's the head coach of Georgia Tech?
Key.
Yeah, Brent Key. That's his name. I couldn't think of his name. Brent Key. I'll shake his hand because he will be saving us from seeing Georgia in the playoffs. B, I hate seeing those red and black colors, and they got. I just say they just draw off. They just draw off. And 3, I just can't stand them. And I really hope if I could just play for Georgia Tech that day, I would play for Georgia Tech and just absolutely dominate the Bulldogs because I can't stand them. I can't stand the fight song. Can't stand the ETN dude. I can't stand Carson Beck. He's the worst quarterback in the SEC. I can't stand him. And then FSU, they started a freshman quarterback, and I know you know this. They're gonna get absolutely trampled this weekend. They have no offensive line, no quarterback, no wide receivers, no running back, no offense. Then they relied on Randy Shannon to lead a defense against this. Oh man, we are licking our chops down here. It's gonna be Seminole gumbo this weekend.
Cool. All right, well, Octavian. Yeah, go ahead. What do you got about Tennessee? Go ahead.
Tennessee's gonna beat Vanderbilt. I'll tell you that. But we beat Ole Miss. Y'all better beat Vanderbilt. Y'all will see Vanderbilt. It will be a clown circus act for me when I see y'all fans. I'm not gonna let up on y'all fans if y'all lose to Vanderbilt this weekend. I'm not gonna let it. That's what I gotta say. Go Gators. Fuck FSU. Fuck Georgia. And Tennessee, you better win.
All right, bye, Octavian. There you go.
All right, Rob.
What is this, a sausage party behind you? What are we looking at here?
Oh, this is the celebration. 3130, baby.
It looks like...
Hey, the Louisville, they came out in the press conference, actually, and they said, they could still smell the cigars from that day while they were celebrating their win.
No, that's just the funk that you guys leave in any locker room that you're at.
No, let's be honest, Rob. That's y'all. All right, y'all are a nasty bunch. You don't even respect your own teammates' privacy over at the Clemson football program. So don't talk.
You guys have doo-doo in your ice. Just stop it. Peg and Megan says Clemson women are just like their goalposts. They go down. Very good, Peg and Megan. That's very good.
Oh shit. Octavian late to us. See that now? That seems a bit racially motivated, Billy. That seems a bit racially motivated.
That's not racially motivated. There are all kinds of people are on parole. What are you talking about?
I'm just messing with him.
Yeah,
he's always trying to pull my chain. But if we're being honest, this cup, by the way, got this at the Missouri game. All week I'm gonna be drinking out of cups that I got a dub at, and I'm going to end the week with the 3130 Clemson chalice. All right.
What is it, a jockstrap?
No, I mean, I know that's on your mind. You always got Peckers on your mind. You're always changing my
Peckers
name.
on my mind. I'm just asking. That's what you normally
Every
run
time you
around
see
with.
me,
So.
man, you just got Pecker on your mind. So that's okay, Rob. I expect nothing less from y'all. But the Gamecocks are coming regardless, Rob. And I don't know what. I heard your little spiel about run the stretch. Phil Maffa ain't fast enough to get the edge, buddy. Newsflash. The dude's 5'8".
He's one of the fastest backs
bowling ball. He ain't hell no, he ain't.
He is not. He is not.
I've seen him play, Rob.
He's not. He's a bowling ball.
He's not as fast as Noel was for Missouri last week.
Shit.
You gonna tell me that? Come on now. Let's be for real. He's not as fast as Parrish at LSU, who weighs fucking 30 pounds less than him. Come on, Rob. Let's keep it. Let's just be honest for a second. Let's take off the Clemson shades. I'll take off the Gamecock shades.
4.4940 according to one site. So yeah, he's slow.
According to one site. What site? Clemson fucking Insider.
I don't know what it was. I just looked at it. 4.4940 is what he ran.
I mean, these are also the same guys who say Cade's like 6'2". I walked right by him. He's the same height as me, 6 foot.
Cool.
So I don't really trust Clemson numbers. I mean, is there not incentive to lie though? At the end of the day, let's just be honest on that.
I don't know.
I would say so. Well, you see it in basketball a lot too, like with the height. You know, they'll add on a couple inches, so shit like that. Kind of like what I just said with Cade. Which I don't know why the hell they do that. I think they did that with Bryce Young coming out of the combine too.
Yeah.
I don't think he did full. I could be wrong, but I don't think he did full measurements. And
well, they had the whole thing with him where he was like, when he went up to the podium for the Panthers, they had him on he literally needed a step. I mean, did you see like the tall podium they had? They didn't do that guy any favors. I mean, he had like the microphone comes up like this, and then they had to bend it down like that. Seriously, they didn't do him any favors at all.
Oh well, you know what I've been seeing. While we're just on the topic of NFL, you know who's a hot commodity right now, Rob?
Who's that?
Daniel Jones. There are a bunch of people. He's in a bidding war right now, from what I hear. I think Jacksonville was one. I don't know the teams. I'm gonna say what I think it was. It's probably wrong, so take it with a grain of salt. I think it was like Jacksonville, Tennessee. God, who else was it? Seattle. And the Cardinals maybe were all trying to bid in on Daniel Jones. What do you think about that?
I think he's been terrible, and I interviewed him at ACC Kickoff, his final year at Duke. No, he seems like he's a nice guy, but
I don't understand how he's that high of a pick. I mean, he was never, if we're just honest, he was never that good in college to warrant being a first-round pick. I mean, that he was drafted because he's 6'5". You know, he's got the measurables. Right?
He's a big guy, but just because you're a big guy doesn't mean that you can play.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. If Anthony Richardson's a top 5 pick, Lenore Sellers is the number 1 pick in the draft right now. I mean, this quarterback play is so watered down. You got these bums going in the first round. It's insane. That's just a bit of a tangent.
But you can't. It's like impossible to win without having a good quarterback, though. You've got to hit the quarterback lottery, or you're done. You know.
I agree. It's just, I mean, as short as 10 years ago, somebody with the stats of Anthony Richardson would never have been a first-round pick. I mean, let's just be honest with that.
Yeah, but he looked good at the combine. That's the big thing.
Yeah, that's why football is watered down, man.
Yeah.
But South Carolina, who are the other big rivalry games? I know we got Texas A&M.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, Texas A&M, Texas,
Vandy,
Florida State, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Kentucky, Louisville.
What do you think's more likely, a Texas A&M win versus Texas, or a Vanderbilt win versus Tennessee?
I think A&M could get Texas before.
I was thinking that too, because Texas, and I brought this up earlier with the UMass thing on the earlier evening stream. Texas hadn't been tested. Who's their toughest out of conference? Did they have anybody in UConn?
Michigan.
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 Okay.
They went on the road and won at Michigan.
With a grain of salt.
You asked. They went on the road in the Big Ten and Michigan and won.
I know, but
I've got something that, I know it's rivalry week, and I'm not supposed to extend olive branches to you sorry Gamecocks, but there is something that could help you this weekend. And you should be cheering for Texas A&M this weekend. And you're like, wait a minute, why? Well, it's not for what Biscuit thinks, because you want your, and I guess it is kind of what Biscuit talked about. If South Carolina wins this weekend against Clemson, okay, and then Syracuse wins over Miami, Clemson goes to the ACC championship game, and they beat SMU, all right, and A&M goes to the SEC championship game, and they beat Georgia, you could have a hell of a resume, because you could say, look, we've got wins over 2 of the top 4 seeds as for South Carolina. That is something that I think people have kind of been talking about, but when you really step back and look at it, is it that far-fetched?
It's definitely not like last week.
I'd give it a 30% chance of all of those things coming together. But
the thing is
seriously, that could happen. You could win this week. I mean, you're a 2.5-point dog, okay?
Yeah.
A&M wins. Miami loses.
I'll look at the line on that while you're talking.
Yeah, I don't even know what the line is on the Miami-Syracuse game. It has to be pretty good, though.
I'll check them real quick.
I'm just saying that, and there's maybe the A&M over Georgia is a tough out there. But if I told you, hey, we've got a team that has 3 losses on the season, but those 3 losses, they do have wins over the SEC champion and the ACC champion that are in these playoffs. Oof. That's a hell of a thing to have for your resume. I'm just saying.
Well, one of the things with that, I don't even think we need all that. I think we just need to beat Clemson, and we're in.
I don't think so. I think you need more than that. But
I don't know. It's going to be a battle of 3 lost teams in the SEC. Okay? I would argue Ole Miss, right? I would argue we probably have a better resume than them. They've lost to 2 unranked teams. Okay?
Sure.
Alabama, same thing. They've
Right.
lost to 2 unranked teams. And all their losses are recent. We haven't lost a game in 4 or 5 weeks? I mean, that's got to play into it. Recency bias is real, whether people want to admit it or not. Recency bias is real. And I think Clemson's going to come in probably ranked around the same as their AP poll. I don't think it's going to divert. If it does, maybe it'll be like 13. I think the Gamecocks will be a little bit higher.
Billy says no 3 lost teams are getting in. I think you're going to run out of other teams. You may be right, though.
I don't know,
But
Billy.
we'll see. We may end up with 1 3-loss team, but
a 3-loss SEC team's getting in over a 2-loss Big Ten team.
I don't know. We'll see. Well, what about a 1-loss Big Ten team? Because Indiana's going to have 1 loss.
Well, do they have a chance to go to the conference championship, though, right?
I don't think so. I have to look at that stuff.
Look at that. Can you pull that up? Because if they go to the Big Ten championship, they're losing. And they might lose this next week. I think they play Michigan.
No, they play Purdue. They're going to beat the shit out of Purdue.
Is it Purdue? Yeah. Have they played Michigan? I thought they played Michigan.
I think they did. I think they beat Michigan. Let's see. Anyway, let's look here. All right, well, let's see here. Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Indiana heading into rivalry week. So here's what's got to – Indiana needs a win versus Purdue and Ohio State and Penn State to lose. Ohio State needs a win versus Michigan, or Indiana and Penn State loses. Penn State needs a win versus Maryland and an Ohio State loss. Oregon's already clinched a berth. So it's going to be either Penn State, Ohio State, or Indiana against Oregon. I think Oregon blows Indiana out.
And who's Ohio State playing?
Michigan.
They'll probably win that.
So Ohio State gets in. I think they get in with just that one.
Yeah, you'll probably get Ohio State. Yeah. Maybe Indiana. One loss, yeah. Maybe Indiana. But the thing is with Indiana, too, they're going to look at strength of schedule. Fact of the matter, they're going to look at the only real team they've played, blew them the fuck out of the water.
They lost.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
well, blew them
on the
out.
road.
Let's be honest. Blew them out.
Bo
Look,
Hunting says if any 3-loss team deserves to get in, it's the Gamecocks. Well, okay.
Well, if we're talking
I mean,
just
it's
purely,
nice.
yeah.
Look, we're all speculating because we've never seen how this committee is going to do these things. We've seen what they put out so far, but we really don't know. You know, they could do something completely different that we have no clue what's going on. So,
well, here's something. Just while I'll switch it a little bit more to the South Carolina Clemson angle.
yeah,
I don't know if you know this or not. Let me pull it up just to make sure my numbers are right.
right. What do you got?
Clemson, over the past season, like this season, has rattled off like 6 decommits.
Yep.
A bunch of them coming recently. What the hell is up with that?
Well, if you look across the country, this is happening everywhere.
Well, the Gamecocks haven't had any.
I don't know. Maybe you guys are doing a better job on retention, but there's a lot. It's happening across the country with a lot of teams. So,
well, that brings me to ask though: are you worried? Because I know your transfer policy. All right, but right now
I'm not worried.
Well, you got the 26th overall class with only 14 commits in the class. I mean,
Right.
14 kids coming in. That's a really small number.
We have years where we don't do but 18 sometimes. It means that they're holding a couple of spots for other guys. We'll be fine. I'm not worried about that.
I would be. I'd be scared. If that was the Gamecocks, you'd be saying we're recruiting piss poor. All right, we can't build out a class.
Well,
Shane
but
Beamer
you don't
doesn't
have
know what he's
you
doing.
don't have a history of development that Clemson has. So that's why I would be calling it that.
I don't know.
You
I'd
guys-
argue at certain positions we're better at development. DB.
Okay.
I'd argue DB. I mean, would you not agree DB?
Did you have someone drafted in the draft last year as a DB
Yeah, Darius Rush.
in the first round?
No.
Okay.
Have you had a DB win Defensive
We did.
Player of the Year in the NFL?
No, but that doesn't happen all the time anyway. I mean,
The year before, J.C. Horn was the first defensive player taken.
yeah, but he was on a Muschamp team, and all
Or was
those
it the
teams
year
sucked.
before? It might have been 2 years before.
Yeah, he was a good player. The only mistake that he ever made in his life was going to South Carolina.
You got J.C.
Should've went
Horn. You got, a strong history of just South Carolina elite DB. A lot of them aren't even high recruits. I think Gilmore was a 4-star. Eman Worry was a 3-star.
Gilmore was a very highly recruited, if I remember correctly.
Eman Worry was a 3-star too. He's
He's
going
a
to be a first-round
linebacker
pick.
though.
No, he's a safety.
I think he's a tweener, isn't he?
Who's that?
Isn't he a tweener? Like he could play both in theory.
I don't know about that. He's a little too small to play linebacker. He does really good in coverage. He's a really good coverage safety. They can put him out in man coverage. He can guard like a cornerback.
Yeah.
Horn was a quitter, but he's still a damn good player. Come on now. If that's the standard, anybody who opts out ever just is a shitty player. We got to at least acknowledge they're a good player, you know?
Sure.
But South Carolina, I gave my score prediction to my girlfriend earlier. I think it's going to be Clemson. They're going to score around 20 to 23 points. I'll give you 20 to 24. South Carolina is going to score between 28 and I said 35, I think, with my girlfriend. So that's what I'm rolling with. South Carolina is going to pull out around a 10-point win. I've looked at your past games. It doesn't seem like y'all have been scoring a whole lot recently. Kind of been settling around the 20, 25-ish range and then winning off of not really playing a real offense.
Cool.
But you're playing a real offense this Saturday.
No, we're not.
Oh, yeah, you are. Oh, yeah,
Fred
you are.
Flintstone's your offensive coordinator, so I'm not very impressed.
Yeah, and he's been great all year. You gave up 300 rushing yards to the Citadel.
That's all the Citadel does. What are you talking about? How many pass yards did they get?
How many passing? Let me see how many attempts they had. That's the real question.
If all they're doing is running the ball, of course they're going to get some yards, and the majority of that was in the second half. So that's just a dumb statement from someone who doesn't know the game of hut.
They had one guy had 7 carries, 70 yards. What are you talking about?
In the second half.
It doesn't matter when the fucking yards came.
Okay. Well, in the second half. And you know what? You guys will have some yardage in the second half, too, when we pull the starters.
Oh, is that what's going to happen?
Probably.
You think field goals are going to win you the ball game this year with your 6 block kicks?
We didn't need a touchdown to beat you last year on offense. So.
I know.
Fred Flintstone's still your defensive coordinator. I'm not impressed.
You think that's going to be the case this year?
Why do you keep asking me the same question? I've already told you 7 different times your team. Let me help you, okay?
Go ahead.
Your team is shit. I will not pick them to win against Clemson ever.
I don't need you to pick them.
Yep. There you go. Don't ask me these questions. You already know the answer. If it's Rob, do you think South Carolina? No, Rob's already told me my team is shit. Stop asking him these questions.
Nobody's asking you about the state of our team.
You just asked me about Clemson doing this and everything else.
What I asked you. You don't even know what I asked you. You don't even know what I asked you.
Because I don't pay attention to you.
Respond.
No, I don't listen to you and your nonsense. The only Gamecock people I listen to, I listen to Gamecock Chuck and Kale.
Maybe if I put $5,000 in a Bible and gave it to you from New Spring Church, you'd listen a little harder.
No,
or if I filled up a syringe with Ostarine and threw it in your thigh, you'd listen a little harder.
Yeah, the Ostarine thing bothers you, doesn't it?
I mean, it's blatantly illegal. What bothers me, actually, is you're so deluded. You think the fact that they tested positive at the end of the year and not earlier in the year means they weren't doing it at all through.
I'm sorry that we followed the rules, and
that's what pisses me off. The blatant blindness for what's clearly in your face. Just because you're a Clemson fan, you can't admit it. It's shameful. But you can admit other things, like you admit the fake black fraternities. That's why I don't understand why you have such a mental block on that one specific thing. That's why
because they played within the rules. So
actually, I do know why. Because they won a national championship that year, and you don't want to admit 2 of your best players on defense were doped up the whole fucking year. I think that's why you don't want to admit it.
You really think that there are players that aren't doped up everywhere?
Yeah, I think with proper testing there aren't. That's exactly what I think.
No, there's not.
See, and now
everyone runs the same testing there, buddy.
Then why isn't everyone? Why across the country have we not heard of people testing positive for Ostarine since then?
There's Ostarine stuff all the time. There's been all kinds of stuff of people having issues.
Let's see.
Anyway.
Crazy how when I look up testing positive for Ostarine in Clemson and college football, not Clemson football, testing positive for Ostarine in college football, the only result is Clemson. Cool. But I guess they're doing it everywhere, right? Except when I look it up, the only result, 2019 Clemson.
Yeah. Did Clemson win that year?
Yeah.
That hurts your feelings, doesn't it?
No, not really.
Yeah, it does.
It was an off year for South Carolina.
You've had 100 years of off years.
I wouldn't say that.
So there you go.
Well, see, that was a clear deflection from Rob walking back. I want everybody to know he said some dumbass shit. Oh, everybody tests positive for Ostarine all over. One quick Google search shows how foolish that is. There hasn't been a player test positive since 2019. Anybody. And I'll let y'all figure out, do some mental math on who it was who tested positive. I'll give you a hint, though. He was rubbing Ohio State gooches. All right. And he wore a tiger paw in his helmet. So that's one myth debunked. Yeah. Now do you want to admit he was
there's proof that Dum Dum here should just hang up. Here, hold on. Before I hang up on you for being stupid, make sure you look at this. There's Taylor Lewin from the Tennessean. Where
when did Taylor Lewin play?
He tested positive for.
When did Taylor Lewin play? When did Taylor Lewin play?
He's a football player that tests positive.
He played in 2016. You bozo! It hasn't happened since 2019. He played in 2016.
Hold on. Let's see. I'll show you something, and then it's like, well, how do we have more there?
Yeah, because what you said is every year people probably test positive. It probably happens everywhere. It has not happened since Clemson.
People have tested positive. Listen, little fella.
Go ahead.
People have tested positive. This has happened. I know this hurts your feelings.
Okay. Can I go now?
Yeah.
We'll
football
go back
players
and forth.
test
I
positive.
don't want to overtalk you. Okay. I'm by myself. I don't know if he meant to do that, but we'll roll with it. Listen. He might bring up a Taylor Lewin positive test, but what everybody needs to understand is that was in 2016. The Clemson positive test were in 2019.
I don't know what happened there, but
I didn't know if you. I was about to say I didn't think you meant to do that.
No, I didn't. It just my screen just said there was a problem. I don't know.
But if you Google it,
tested positive.
If you Google it, just everybody in the chat, Google test positive for Ostarine college football. You'll see a Tennessean article from a 2016 positive from Taylor Lewin, and then you'll see nothing but Clemson.
That was 2019, man.
Nothing but Clemson. Yeah, right, I said the guy tested positive in 2016. I didn't say the article was from 2019. When did he test positive?
I don't know, but
you just had the article up citing it. I read it. He tested positive in 2016.
Whatever you need to tell yourself to validate the Peckerhead
Eat your
program.
crow. Eat your
I'm
crow.
not eating anything.
Eat your crow.
Not eating anything.
You're a bunch of you can't win games without $100 bills for Bibles and needles in your thigh.
Okay, here's the thing.
That's the reality of Clemson football.
Okay, here's the thing, though.
Go ahead.
When it comes down to it, the NCAA had their investigation. They determined that these guys weren't going to play, and Clemson won the national title without them. Mm-hmm. You seem to forget that. Mm-hmm. Sorry if that hurt your feelings.
So are you ready to admit they were doped up the whole time before that positive test?
No.
Of course.
Because you have to test positive for it.
Because they only decided to do it in week 13.
Okay, said, so under your logic,
what?
We have to assume that Joe Morrison died in the shower at South Carolina with steroids going through his body as he was banging whores. Okay, well, that's because you don't know much about football in general.
Go and Google, that was 30 years before I was born.
Joe Morrison, and you can talk about, the Patriot. Go look up the Patriot from the WWF, and he talks about how he did steroids at South Carolina. So under your logic, I can just say that all players at South Carolina are on steroids.
Yeah, we did this, but what about this 20 years ago? That's what you're saying?
The investigation showed that that they tested positive and they were banned from the game. Once they tested positive, they didn't play anymore.
Here's the question.
I know that hurts your feelings.
Here's the question to examine peak delusion. Do you think they decided in week 13 that they were going to load up on steroids, Rob?
It doesn't matter.
No. Yes or no? Just come on.
No, I'm not going to give you what you want.
Is that a no to the question?
I answered you. You don't get to try to paint me into a corner.
You didn't answer.
Listen, it doesn't matter. Once they tested positive, they didn't play anymore. And Clemson still kicked ass.
Clemson delusion.
Go ask Nick Saban about that.
This is the crux of the Clemson
our backup
delusion.
Defensive tackle ramrodded his Alabama ass. Go check that out.
Okay. So I guess in week 13, he just decided of senior year, he just decided, I think now I need to start putting needles in my
section that are just. Let's see here. He needs to go to anger management classes.
Billy
Michael
Cole,
says it's everywhere, but most of the Clemson, who cares?
Boo-hoo, Billy.
Let's see here.
Aren't you the guy who raged out just from the sight of me at the last live stream, Billy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you
do. All right, I've got to get moving because I got stuff to do today.
Go game talk 31:30. I'll see you tomorrow, Rob.
All right, buddy. Jarrett, what's up, buddy?
What's going on? You know, the easiest way to not get called is to take EPOs.
I don't take any steroids, so I don't know much about
that would be the easiest way for any player or athlete to not get caught because that gets in your bloodstream and it's just basically putting oxygen in your blood. And it's very hard.
Man. I mean, we had Octavian on, who's a nuclear physicist earlier, and now you're telling us how to beat drug tests. We got the smartest listeners ever.
No, that's the actual enhancement. But it's not a steroid. It's just all it does is put more oxygen in your blood. It makes you stronger and faster. It makes basically more oxygen to your blood, makes you stronger and faster. But anyway,
Cool.
it would be easier to beat a drug test with that than basically putting a needle in your leg or ass or whatever you're putting in.
I just the whole thing of once they were determined that they were dirty.
I'm just saying that they probably wouldn't have got caught if they were doing EPOs, but that cost a whole lot more money than a needle.
Well, I don't think anybody should do I think the steroid stuff is.
Well, that's not really steroids. That's just that's not steroids. That's a actual. I wouldn't say it's steroids. It goes into your body. It's a natural. It's a chemical that goes in your body that's natural. But I mean, It is illegal to use in sports because it's an advantage.
Yeah.
But,
all right. Well, what else you got for the show today, buddy?
So I'm thinking maybe Georgia and Georgia Tech, since I'm a Georgia fan, might be closer than I think. Most people are saying it will be because Georgia has problems with facing quarterbacks that run the ball. And I know Georgia Tech isn't a good team, but they always like to play us real tough. Even though it isn't Georgia, I still could see them giving us a little hard time. Maybe we get a 2-touchdown lead, but I still see us struggling maybe the first half. And maybe we pull away the fourth quarter, but they'll still play us hard because that rivalry between us and them. And they got a good coach. And like I said, their quarterback runs and he can throw when he has to. I don't know his name. What's his name?
If you didn't ask me, I could tell you, but I don't remember.
Yeah. I'm thinking in my head, just like you've seen how Georgia plays against running quarterbacks. It really is hard for them to get sacks on the quarterback that runs the ball. So in my head, I'm like, they should be able to shut it down, but I don't know. I mean, I think they should. I mean, I don't see why they won't, but I still see them winning the game. I just don't know how close it'll be. What's the line?
I think it's 10.5, something like that.
10.5. So there you go. So I was kind of right. So it's closer than what I thought it would be.
Yep.
So people were saying a couple of touchdowns. At first, I was thinking that last week with Vic on VicTube. I was thinking the same thing, maybe a couple touchdowns and then maybe a field goal. But then I got to think about it. Like I said, the quarterback on their team runs the ball, and Georgia has problems getting pressure on running quarterbacks. And I don't know. And that makes sports.
That's not true. I mean, Klubnik's ran for almost 500 yards this year. I mean, and y'all bottled him up. So
yeah, but Clemson is we got Clemson's number as of late.
I mean, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, Klubnik is a threat running the ball. I mean, he ran a 50-yard touchdown against Pitt 2 weeks ago. So I mean, they're.
But I could believe that being a 10-point. That makes a lot of sense to me, being 10-point spread, because that how they played us last year, and even though it is at home, it makes sense to me. It feels more like something I could believe. Because we ain't covered late. What's the games we've covered? We've only covered 2, right? Like 2 games?
I mean, I think you were dogs going into the Texas game. That's a win.
Yeah, but we covered. You
won, and you were an underdog, so that's a cover.
Yeah, we covered, and we covered Tennessee. I'm trying to think what else we covered. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if we cover or not. I would hope we cover against Georgia Tech because, I mean, it would be embarrassing, again, to have a close game like the same thing we did last year, having it like a one-score game.
Don't shortchange the Nerds, man. I mean, they're doing their thing. They're not playing that bad football, so.
Well, they're a good team in their own right. I mean, they're a decent team. They're not a great team. I mean, they always play pretty decent, but not like to the standards of Clemson or this year's Miami. But, I mean, it's whatever. As for Clemson, I'm switching topics. I don't know if they're going to beat South Carolina.
Cool.
I don't think they are. I just think the momentum has shifted towards South Carolina, specifically on the offense. The defense is kind of held off the gas just a little bit, but I think the defense is going to light back up on South Carolina. I think it's going to get back on it because they were a little kind of slacking. Not last week, but Missouri game. I think they'll pick it up against Clemson. They'll play hard, and I think they'll win on the offense because they've been getting better and better. They're hot. They're really hot on the offense, and you can't say they're not. I know you're a Clemson fan, but you can't deny that they're being hot on offense.
They've been better on offense, but I can also say that their quarterback leads the country in fumbles. So
he might lead the quarterback team, but that's because he's holding the ball. He's running the ball.
Why is it that everybody just blows that stat off? He's not
you know
good
what?
enough
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Damn ball. He's not good enough to know to not hold the ball like a fucking loaf of bread and let a Vanderbilt linebacker turn you over.
I'll tell you. I'll explain you why. Because he's holding the ball so much because he's running it, and he's not having two hands on the ball.
Cool.
That's why. If he had two hands on the ball when running the ball, not trying to zigzag, get around the defenders, and not getting.
So you're saying he's poor. So you're saying he's poorly coached.
No, I ain't saying he's poorly coached. He just needs to hold on to the ball with two hands.
Okay, well, he hasn't been coached to hold on to the ball.
I think he's a good quarterback. He just needs to hold on to the ball better.
He leads the country in fumbles.
How
is that like good? Explain to me how leading the country in fumbles is good.
Listen, what are they, 8-3?
Yeah.
They're not a bad team, being 8-3. That's not bad.
They were a bad team. I'm saying their quarterback has issues holding on to the football.
That's because he runs the ball constantly.
Cool.
So he runs the ball. He probably doesn't have two hands on it like he should, and he's trying to stiff arm, most likely, players that are coming at him, defenders, and then that leaves him exposed for another defender to pop it out of his hand on the other.
I'd rather have him than Nico, quarterback. How's that? Is that good enough for you?
Sellers, you rather have Nico over him than Sellers?
I'd rather have Sellers over Nico.
Yeah, I would too. Sellers is a better quarterback than Nico as of now because we don't know Nico's ceiling. It's like Lou said, we don't know Nico's ceiling because a lot of people said that Nico, the Tennessee fans, we all knew that he wasn't going to be Heisman. That was something the Tennessee fans plastered in our face, and we just knew that wasn't going to happen. But his ceiling could be something totally different next year, or it could be totally bust. Like he could be like Joe Milton from last year, just a bust. We don't know. But it's all up to Nico for him to improve and get more reps as he, plays this year. Maybe the playoffs. Because I definitely see them going to the playoffs because they're not getting into the title game unless Georgia loses. Well, no, because Georgia still probably gets in if they lose to Georgia Tech because they beat Tennessee. So they're still getting into the playoffs, Tennessee, even without an SEC loss or SEC title game. So this Tennessee probably could lose a game in the playoffs. I don't know the bracket right now because I'm not looking at it. I don't know who they play. So that's something you would have to tell me.
I don't know. We'll find out tonight on that.
Yeah, because
so, I got to read Anthony's comment here. Anthony says plenty of people run the ball a lot and don't fumble, and that is a very true statement because if you look,
but it's all about how you control the ball. You got to hold. You have to have firm control of that ball too. Some people don't have firm control of the ball, and they get the ball knocked out of their hand with a good punch.
Some people are poorly coached. Got it.
It's not poorly coached. It's just not having a firm control in your ball. You're not controlling it good. Not having firm strength on it.
You get coached to hold the ball correctly. What am I missing here? I'm asking. What am I missing?
If it's that bad, he should have two hands on it instead of one.
Let's see here. I'm looking at it. I pulled up Ashton Genty, the Boise State running back.
He's out.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm looking at his stats here. Carried the ball 275 times for 2,062 yards, averaging 7.5 yards a carry. He has 0 fumbles on the season. So there's that.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
he's not a running back. He's not
He is
a
running.
quarterback. He's not a quarterback. He's a running back.
So quarterbacks can fumble and it's good.
There's a difference. He's a quarterback and that's a running back.
Cool. We're going to agree to disagree on that front. All right, I have to go. I have stuff I've got to do, but I appreciate it, Jarrett. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
See you guys later on. All right. There you go. Hey, we'll make sure you guys support the live show. The link is in the description. Hope to see you guys out there on Friday. And we will talk to you guys later on.